Life has a quiet way of slipping through our hands, not because someone steals it from us, but because we surrender it willingly, minute after minute, day after day, believing there will always be another tomorrow. We postpone what truly matters. We delay our dreams. We silence our potential with distractions that ask nothing from us except our attention. Then, without realizing it, weeks become years, and years become a life we barely recognize. The tragedy is not that life is short. The tragedy is waking up one day and discovering that you were present for every moment, yet truly lived through very few of them. Ask yourself a simple question. If every day of your life were repeated exactly as you lived it today, where would you be 5 years from now? The answer to that question is more honest than any excuse your mind can produce. Your habits are shaping your destiny long before your goals ever have the chance to. Every small decision, every promise you break to yourself, every hour spent escaping instead of growing is quietly writing the story of who you become. The greatest danger is not failure. It is becoming comfortable with a life far beneath your true potential. Most people are waiting for motivation, for the perfect opportunity, for the right mood to finally begin. But life does not reward those who wait. It rewards those who move despite uncertainty. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to suffer. It is about valuing your future more than your temporary comfort. Every moment you choose comfort over purpose, you strengthen the habits that keep you trapped. Every moment you choose courage over convenience, you reclaim a piece of your life. There is an invisible cost to every distraction. It is not measured in minutes, but in possibilities. Every hour spent drifting without intention is an hour that could have been invested in becoming wiser, stronger, kinder, healthier, or more capable. Imagine standing at the end of your life, looking back at all the opportunities that quietly passed because you believed you had more time. That regret cannot be erased. It can only be prevented. Today is not just another day on the calendar. It is another chance to decide who you will become. You do not need a new year, a new environment, or a perfect plan. You need the courage to face yourself honestly. Stop negotiating with the habits that are stealing your future. Stop waiting for a version of yourself that will magically appear one morning filled with motivation. That person is created by the choices you make today. The life you dream of is not waiting somewhere in the future. It begins with the decision you make in this very moment. Stop wasting your life, because every second you delay is a second of your only life that will never return. Most people believe that a wasted life is dramatic. They imagine someone making one terrible decision that changes everything overnight. But in reality, life is rarely lost in a single moment. It disappears quietly. It fades through countless ordinary days lived without awareness. It is not one catastrophic mistake that leads us away from our purpose. It is the accumulation of small choices made unconsciously. Every morning we wake up with the gift of another day, yet many of us move through it as though we have an unlimited supply. We drift from one distraction to another, reacting instead of choosing, consuming instead of creating, surviving instead of truly living. The danger of this pattern is that it feels comfortable. It feels normal. And because it feels normal, we never question it. Living unconsciously means allowing your habits to make decisions that your values should be making. You reach for your phone before you become aware of your own thoughts. You fill silence with noise because stillness feels unfamiliar. You postpone difficult conversations, meaningful work, and personal growth because there is always something easier demanding your attention. Slowly, without realizing it, your days become repetitions rather than opportunities. You are moving but not progressing. You are busy but not fulfilled. There is a profound difference between activity and purpose, and many people spend their entire lives confusing the two. The mind naturally seeks comfort. It prefers what is familiar over what is meaningful. This is why distractions are so attractive. They ask very little from you, while giving the illusion of satisfaction. A few minutes of entertainment become an hour. An hour becomes an evening. An evening becomes another day that slips away unnoticed. At first, these moments seem insignificant. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow you will begin exercising. Tomorrow you will start reading. Tomorrow you will finally pursue the dream that continues to whisper from somewhere deep inside. But tomorrow has a strange habit of becoming another version of today. When nothing within you changes, awareness is the beginning of transformation, because you cannot change what you refuse to see. The moment you become conscious of how you spend your time, where your attention goes, and what repeatedly pulls you away from your highest intentions, you reclaim a measure of control over your life. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming present. Presence allows you to observe your thoughts without immediately obeying them. It allows you to recognize the difference between an impulse and a decision. That small space between reaction and action is where freedom begins. Many people search for extraordinary experiences while overlooking the extraordinary power hidden inside ordinary moments. Every morning is an opportunity to choose discipline instead of delay. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice kindness instead of impatience. Every challenge is an opportunity to develop strength instead of finding another excuse. Life is not transformed through occasional moments of greatness. It is transformed through consistent moments of awareness. The quality of your life is determined less by the size of your achievements than by the consciousness you bring to your daily actions. Imagine someone driving toward a destination while never looking at the road. They may believe they are moving in the right direction simply because the vehicle is in motion, but movement without awareness often leads farther away from where one truly wishes to go. Human life is no different. We become so occupied with routines that we forget to ask whether those routines are leading us toward the person we hope to become. Years pass, responsibilities grow, and one day we realize that we have been following patterns we never intentionally chose. We accepted them because everyone else seemed to be doing the same. We confused familiarity with wisdom and repetition with progress. To awaken from unconscious living is not to reject the world or escape from responsibility. It is to become deeply engaged with each moment, understanding that every decision, no matter how small, is shaping the direction of your life. Each choice either strengthens the person you aspire to become or reinforces the habits that keep you where you are. Every moment of awareness becomes an act of reclaiming your life from distraction, from autopilot, and from the quiet habits that slowly steal the days you can never recover. Time is the one possession that every human being receives equally at the beginning of each day. Yet it is also the one thing that can never be earned back once it is gone. You can lose money and rebuild your wealth. You can lose a job and find another opportunity. You can lose possessions and replace them over time. But once a single hour has passed, it is gone forever. No amount of success, intelligence, influence, or determination can purchase another moment from yesterday. This simple truth is easy to understand with the mind, yet surprisingly difficult to live with the heart. That is why so many people treat time as though it were unlimited, while protecting everything else they own with great care. Imagine carrying a bag filled with gold coins, knowing that every morning someone places exactly 24 new coins into your hands. The only condition is that whatever remains unused at the end of the day disappears forever. Most people would guard every coin carefully, thinking deeply before spending it. Yet this is exactly how life presents itself to us every single day. Instead of gold, we are given hours. Instead of coins, we are given moments. The difference is that we often fail to recognize their value until they are already gone. The greatest illusion is believing that there will always be more time. This illusion encourages procrastination, weakens commitment, and gives excuses a comfortable place to grow. We tell ourselves that we are still young, that next month will be better, that next year we will finally begin. We postpone learning, healing, creating, forgiving, and becoming because tomorrow feels guaranteed. But tomorrow has never been promised to anyone. Life does not announce when an opportunity is the last one. It does not warn you before the final conversation with someone you love. It does not send a reminder before the final chance to pursue a dream that has lived quietly inside you for years. When you begin to understand the value of time, your priorities naturally change. You become more selective about where your attention goes. You stop allowing meaningless distractions to consume hours that could be invested in your growth. You recognize that every unnecessary argument, every endless scroll through meaningless content, and every habit that leaves you empty carries a price far greater than it appears. The cost is not measured in minutes alone. It is measured in the person you could have become if those moments had been invested with intention. People often say they do not have enough time, but the deeper question is whether they are using the time they already have with awareness. Every person, regardless of status or background, lives within the same 24 hours each day. The difference is rarely the amount of time available. It is the quality of attention brought to that time. Some people use their hours to build knowledge, strengthen relationships, improve their health, and serve a purpose greater than themselves. Others allow the same hours to disappear into endless habits that offer temporary comfort but leave no lasting fulfillment. Time is also deeply connected to identity. Every hour you spend repeatedly doing something is teaching your mind who you are. If you consistently choose discipline, you become a disciplined person. If you repeatedly choose avoidance, your identity slowly becomes shaped around avoidance. You are not transformed by one extraordinary decision. You are transformed by the repeated investment of your time into actions that reflect your highest values. This is why every small decision matters. Every minute is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Many people wait until they experience loss before they understand the value of time. It may be the passing of a loved one, a serious illness, or the realization that decades have slipped away faster than expected. Suddenly, the things that once seemed urgent no longer matter. Titles, possessions, and endless distractions lose their importance. What remains meaningful are the moments of presence, the relationships that were nurtured, the lessons that were learned, and the courage to have lived according to one's deepest convictions. Wisdom often arrives when we finally understand that life was never measured by how much we accumulated, but by how consciously we spent the moments we were given. To honor time is not to fill every minute with endless work or constant productivity. It is to treat each moment with respect. Rest can be meaningful when it restores your strength. Silence can be meaningful when it deepens your awareness. Conversation can be meaningful when it strengthens connection. Even the simplest actions become valuable when they are performed with intention instead of unconscious habit. A meaningful life is not built by rushing through the days in search of some distant future. It is built by recognizing that every present moment is part of the life you have been given, and every choice you make with your time is shaping a future that is quietly arriving with each passing breath. One of the most difficult things a person will ever do is face the truth about themselves. Not the version they present to the world, not the image they carefully protect, but the reality that exists beneath every excuse, every justification, and every comforting story they tell themselves. It is much easier to believe that life is unfair, that circumstances are to blame, or that success belongs only to those who were fortunate enough to receive better opportunities. These beliefs may provide temporary relief, but they also keep a person trapped. Growth cannot begin where honesty does not exist. The moment you refuse to see the truth, you also refuse the possibility of change. The human mind has an incredible ability to protect itself from discomfort. Whenever we fail, it searches for reasons outside of ourselves. Whenever we fall short of our potential, it quickly creates explanations that preserve our pride. We say we were too busy, too tired, too unlucky, or simply waiting for the right time. While these reasons may contain a small amount of truth, they often hide a deeper reality that we do not want to confront. Perhaps we lacked discipline. Perhaps we feared failure so much that we never truly tried. Perhaps we became comfortable with mediocrity because it demanded less courage than pursuing excellence. Until we are willing to admit these possibilities, we remain prisoners of the stories we tell ourselves. There is a quiet difference between making an excuse and accepting responsibility. An excuse protects your ego today, but weakens your future. Responsibility may hurt your pride in the moment, but it gives you the power to transform your life. If your problems are always someone else's fault, then your future will always depend on someone else changing. But if you recognize that your choices, your habits, and your responses shape the direction of your life, you immediately regain control over what comes next. This realization is not meant to create guilt. It is meant to awaken strength. Many people fear the truth because they believe it will make them feel inadequate. In reality, the opposite is often true. Truth removes confusion. It replaces illusion with clarity. Imagine trying to navigate through a dense forest while refusing to look at a map because you fear discovering that you are lost. Pretending you know the way does not bring you closer to your destination. The moment you admit that you have taken the wrong path is the very moment you become capable of finding the right one. Self-awareness is not weakness. It is the foundation upon which every meaningful transformation is built. Your daily habits reveal truths that your words often conceal. You may say that health is important, but your routines tell another story. You may claim that your dreams matter, yet you spend countless hours distracted by things that contribute nothing to those dreams. You may insist that relationships are your priority, while giving more attention to a screen than to the people sitting beside you. The truth is rarely hidden. It is reflected in the patterns of your everyday life. Your calendar, your habits, and your choices speak with greater honesty than your intentions ever will. Facing the truth also requires humility. It asks you to accept that you do not know everything and that there is always room to improve. Pride resists correction because it believes admitting weakness is a sign of failure. Wisdom understands that acknowledging weakness is the first step toward developing strength. The strongest people are not those who never make mistakes. They are those who examine their mistakes without becoming consumed by shame. They learn, they adjust, and They continue moving forward with greater understanding than before. There is freedom in no longer pretending. The energy that was once spent maintaining false appearances can now be invested in genuine progress. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you begin comparing yourself to the person you were yesterday. Instead of hiding your shortcomings, you work patiently to improve them. Instead of fearing criticism, you welcome it when it contains truth that helps you grow. This shift changes not only your actions, but also your relationship with yourself. You become someone who values honesty more than comfort and progress more than perfection. Every meaningful transformation begins with a simple but uncomfortable question. What truth have I been avoiding? The answer may concern your habits, your relationships, your attitude, or the way you spend your time. It may reveal fears you have hidden for years or patterns you have repeated without noticing. Whatever the answer may be, it is not your enemy. It is your teacher. The truth may challenge your identity, but it also clears away everything that stands between you and the life you are capable of creating. The courage to look inward without excuses is one of the rarest qualities a human being can develop because it requires letting go of the comforting illusion that change begins somewhere outside yourself. Every human being carries within them a quiet desire for a better life. Some dream of greater peace, others of success, meaningful relationships, physical strength, financial freedom, or a deeper sense of purpose. Yet there is a question that often remains unanswered. Who is responsible for creating that future? Many people spend years waiting for circumstances to improve before they decide to change. They hope for better opportunities, more supportive people, or perfect conditions. While these things may help, they can never replace the one force that determines the direction of your life more than any other. Your willingness to take responsibility. Responsibility is often misunderstood. People hear the word and immediately think of burden, pressure, or obligation. But true responsibility is not about carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It is about recognizing that your responses, your choices, and your actions belong to you. You may not control every event that enters your life. You cannot control the past, the opinions of others, or unexpected hardships. But you always possess the ability to choose how you respond. Within that choice lies your greatest power. The moment you begin blaming everything outside yourself, you unknowingly hand over control of your future. If your happiness depends entirely on other people, then your peace disappears whenever they disappoint you. If your success depends only on perfect circumstances, then every obstacle becomes a reason to stop. If your growth depends on feeling motivated every day, then your progress will always be inconsistent. Responsibility means refusing to give away the authority you have over your own life. It is the understanding that while life may present challenges beyond your control, your character is shaped by how you meet those challenges. Consider the difference between two people facing the same difficulty. One spends all of their energy complaining about how unfair the situation is. The other asks a different question: what can I do from here? The circumstances may be identical, but the outcomes are often completely different. The first person remains trapped because their attention stays fixed on what cannot be changed. The second person begins moving forward because their attention is focused on what is still possible. Responsibility shifts your attention away from excuses and toward action. Many people underestimate the influence of small choices because they are searching for dramatic breakthroughs. They believe their lives will change after one extraordinary event, one lucky opportunity, or one perfect decision. In reality, your future is built quietly through the choices you repeat every day. Choosing to wake up when your alarm rings instead of pressing snooze. Choosing to read instead of endlessly scrolling. Choosing to exercise even when you do not feel like it. Choosing to keep your promises to yourself. Each decision may appear insignificant in isolation, but together they form the habits that define your character. Every repeated action strengthens a particular version of yourself. If you repeatedly choose discipline, discipline becomes part of your identity. If you repeatedly choose avoidance, avoidance begins to define you. Identity is not something you discover one day. It is something you construct through consistent behavior. The person you become next year is already being shaped by the decisions you are making today. Whether those decisions move you closer to your highest potential or farther away depends entirely on what you repeatedly choose. Taking responsibility also means accepting that no one else can do your inner work for you. Others may encourage you, teach you, inspire you, or support you, but they cannot develop your discipline. They cannot build your courage. They cannot replace the effort required to overcome your fears or transform your habits. There comes a point in every person's journey where they must stop looking outward for rescue and begin looking inward for strength. This realization is not isolating. It is deeply empowering because it reminds you that the greatest source of change has always been within your reach. There will always be reasons to delay. Life will continue presenting distractions, disappointments, and unexpected obstacles. If you wait until every condition is perfect before taking responsibility, you may spend your entire life waiting. The disciplined mind understands that progress does not require ideal circumstances. It requires commitment despite imperfect circumstances. The strongest people are not those who encounter the fewest difficulties. They are those who continue choosing growth regardless of the difficulties they encounter. Your future is not being written only by the goals you set or the dreams you imagine. It is being written by the countless ordinary decisions that nobody else sees. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, effort over comfort, patience over frustration, or purpose over distraction, you are shaping the person you will become. Responsibility is not a single decision made once in a lifetime. It is a practice renewed each morning, strengthened with every conscious choice, and reflected in the quiet consistency of daily actions that gradually transform possibility into reality. There is a moment that exists between the life you have been living and the life you are capable of creating. That moment is not hidden somewhere in the future. It is not waiting for a new year, a better opportunity, or a perfect set of circumstances. It exists right here, in the present. Every meaningful transformation begins with a single decision made today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more confident or more prepared. The greatest changes in history, in human character, and in personal growth have always started with one simple choice. The choice to begin. Many people spend years preparing to live instead of actually living. They collect information, watch countless videos, read inspiring books, and make detailed plans, believing that one more piece of knowledge will finally make them ready. But knowledge without action becomes another form of procrastination. It creates the comforting illusion of progress while keeping a person exactly where they are. Learning has great value, but only when it leads to movement. A map is useful only if you are willing to take the first step on the journey. The human mind often exaggerates the size of the beginning. It convinces you that you need extraordinary motivation before taking action. It tells you that the task is too difficult, that the timing is not right, or that failure is inevitable. These thoughts feel convincing because they protect you from discomfort. Remaining where you are always feels safer than stepping into the unknown. Yet everything worthwhile in life exists beyond the boundary of familiar comfort. Growth asks you to move before certainty arrives. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act while fear is still present. One of the greatest obstacles to change is the belief that small actions do not matter. People overlook the power of a single workout because they focus only on the body they hope to have months from now. They dismiss one page of reading because they are thinking about the hundreds of books they have not yet finished. They delay writing because one paragraph seems too insignificant. What they fail to understand is that every remarkable achievement is simply the accumulation of countless ordinary actions performed consistently over time. Greatness rarely announces itself through dramatic beginnings. It grows quietly through small decisions repeated with patience. Think of a seed placed into the ground. On the day it is planted, nothing remarkable appears to happen. There is no towering tree, no wide branches, no visible evidence of growth. Yet beneath the surface, life has already begun. The unseen process is just as important as the visible result that comes later. Personal transformation follows the same pattern. The decision to begin may appear insignificant to others, but it changes something profound within you. It shifts your identity from someone who intends to act to someone who actually does. That internal shift becomes the foundation upon which lasting change is built. Every day presents countless opportunities to begin again. If yesterday was filled with mistakes, today offers another chance to make different choices. If fear prevented you from taking action last week, it does not have to determine your actions this week. The past may explain where you are, but it does not have to define where you are going. Too many people allow previous failures to convince them that future success is impossible. They carry old disappointments into new opportunities, expecting history to repeat itself. But every sunrise reminds us that life continuously offers renewal to those who are willing to embrace it. Beginning today also requires letting go of perfection. Perfection is often nothing more than fear wearing the disguise of high standards. You tell yourself that you will start when you have the perfect plan, the perfect skills, or the perfect confidence. Meanwhile, time continues moving forward without waiting. Those who achieve meaningful success are rarely the ones who begin perfectly. They are the ones who accept being beginners. They understand that every expert was once inexperienced, every master was once uncertain, and every great accomplishment started with imperfect effort. The future is shaped by what you repeatedly do in the present. Every small act of discipline strengthens your character. Every promise you keep to yourself builds trust within your own mind. Every step forward, no matter how small, weakens the habit of hesitation. Momentum is created through action, not through endless thinking. Once you begin, the next step becomes easier. Confidence grows through experience, not through waiting. Life does not ask you to transform everything in a single day. It asks only that you make one conscious decision that moves you closer to the person you wish to become. One honest conversation, one healthy meal, 1 hour of focused work, one act of kindness, one moment of discipline instead of distraction. These choices may seem ordinary, yet they possess extraordinary power because they interrupt the cycle of delay. The person you dream of becoming is not created in some distant future. That person is shaped by the decision you make in this moment, because every lasting transformation begins with the courage to start before you feel completely ready.